Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you in our YouTube channel Gurmantra Shiksha Ka Granth. I'm your educator Saranya and today we are going to learn enzyme linked receptors. And in enzyme linked receptors itself we have three categories. One is receptor tyrosine kinase, the next one is tyrosine kinase associated receptors, and the third one is receptor serine threonine kinases. Today we are going to deal with a lot of pathways. So I request you all to have a notebook and pen with you. So whenever you are learning the pathway, just write down because I'm going to provide you only handwritten notes. So I'm going to provide you handwritten notes which is very crystal clear in nature by itself. You can simply copy that down and study from that. Because pathways you cannot simply by heart. You have to write and see in order to understand them well. So have a notebook and pen with you and that can be useful for you even in the times of revision. You can simply go through the pathway with your own notes. Okay. So let's learn the enzyme linked receptors. So enzyme linked receptors are categorized into three. One is receptor tyrosine kinase, the second one is tyrosine kinase associated receptors, and the third one is receptor serine threonine kinases. So these are the three receptors that comes under enzyme linked receptors. And there is further classification under receptor tyrosine kinase. You have RASMAP kinase, IP3 DAG pathway, and AKT-mTOR pathway. In tyrosine kinase associated receptor, you have JAK-STAT pathway, and receptor serine threonine kinase, you have TGF beta pathway. So these are the pathways we are going to learn today. So enzyme linked receptors can act directly as an enzyme or can be associated with enzymes. So these enzyme linked receptors can be an enzyme itself or it can be associated with enzymes. So they can be a single pass transmembrane protein. So this is the structure of a enzyme linked receptor. You can see they are single pass, okay, which means the transmembrane region will pass through the plasma membrane only one time. Ligand binding region is extracellular domain. So this is the extracellular domain which your ligand will come and bind. That's why it is called as ligand binding region. And catalytic site is cytosolic region. So this is the catalytic site which is in the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasmic region, your catalytic domain will be there, which will have the enzymatic activity. Okay. And this is the transmembrane region. And this enzyme linked receptor is a single pass. So they are protein kinases and they phosphorylate proteins. Basically, these catalytic domains are protein kinases. The function of kinases is to phosphorylation. Okay, the function of kinase is to phosphorylate other proteins or enzymes. So first category we are going to talk in enzyme linked receptor is receptor tyrosine kinase. Okay, so receptor tyrosine kinase. So the ligands which can bind to this receptor tyrosine kinase can be a growth factor, it can be a cytokine, it can be a hormone. So some of the examples include nerve growth factors, platelet dependent growth factor, fibroblast growth factor, you have insulin growth factor, then you have VEGF and macrophage colony stimulating factor. All of these are the ligand for your receptor tyrosine kinase. Okay, and these receptor tyrosine kinase family are involved in growth of cells. Okay, so in cell growth they are involved. If there is any kind of mutation in receptor tyrosine kinase, that may develop cancer. Okay, so any mutation in receptor tyrosine kinase may develop cancers. Okay, so enzymes that specifically phosphorylate the tyrosine residue are termed as tyrosine kinase. Okay, so the function of tyrosine kinase is to phosphorylate at the tyrosine residue. From the name itself, its job has been explained. So the mechanism of action of receptor tyrosine kinase is the growth factor or it can be any ligand that will come and bind to the receptor. So ligand binds to the receptor. So this is the first step. Second step is dimerization of receptor. First, the receptor will be existing in the form of a monomer, but when the ligand comes and bind to the receptors will be dimerized. They will be forming dimers. will be attached and they'll form dimers. So this will lead to activation of the cytosolic catalytic domain. Okay, so when dimerization of the receptor happens, you know that catalytic domain is present in the cytosolic region that will get activated. When these catalytic domains are activated, they will cross phosphorylate each other. Okay, this is called as autophosphorylation. This receptor will phosphorylate this one and this receptor will phosphorylate the receptor. Okay, so autophosphorylation of receptor dimers. So this is the basic pathway. You can see the ligand comes and bind to the receptor. The receptor will be dimerized and the catalytic domain which is present in the cytosolic region that will get activated, which will lead to autophosphorylation of the receptor dimers. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of the receptor tyrosine kinase. So in receptor tyrosine kinase, the first pathway which we are going to understand is RAS-MAP kinase pathway. Okay, RAS-MAP kinase pathway. So MAPK. Okay, this is MAPK molecule. What is the full form of MAPK is? It is mitogen associated protein kinase. Okay, so it is mitogen associated protein kinase, and this kinase. Okay, since the name kinase is coming, which means it is an enzyme first. Secondly, this will phosphorylate. Okay, this is involved in phosphorylation. Okay, and this will specifically phosphorylate your amino acid serine and threonine. Okay, serine threonine. If you see what are the amino acids on which the phosphorylation will take place is serine, threonine and tyrosine. Okay, serine, threonine and tyrosine. These are the three amino acids on which the phosphorylations happen. Okay, so next we are going to understand what is RAS protein. RAS is a monomeric G protein. We've studied in the previous lectures about the G protein where we saw it is trimeric, heterotrimeric. But this RAS is monomeric and this is a G protein, okay, and has GTPase activity. We know GTPase activity means hydrolysis of GTP into GDP by losing one phosphate. So it has role in cell proliferation, differentiation, and this RAS is located in the inner plasma membrane. Okay, it is located in the cytosolic region, but in the plasma membrane it will be attached. So if there is any mutation in the RAS protein, that will lead to cancer formation. So we saw RAS as a G protein, so its function is to activate MAP kinase. Okay, it will activate MAP kinase, and if MAP kinase is activated, the final result will be cell growth and division. Okay, so this is a signal for cell growth and division. If RAS activates AKT and mTOR pathway, then that will be signal for protein synthesis and inhibition of apoptosis. What is the meaning of apoptosis? It is programmed cell death. So cell death will be inhibited. So this is the function of RAS. Basically, RAS function is for cell growth, cell division, okay, and protein synthesis. So let's understand the pathway of RAS-MAP kinase. First, binding of ligand to the receptor. You can see this is the ligand that is binding to your receptor. So the second step is it causes dimerization of receptor. When the ligand binds to the receptor, that causes dimerization of the receptor. The two receptors will be dimerized. Okay. Then autophosphorylation of receptors at the tyrosine residues. After the receptor has been dimerized, they will autophosphorylate. That means cross phosphorylate each other at the tyrosine residue. Okay, so that is the third step. Now, when the receptor is phosphorylated to this receptor, which is active now, our adapter proteins will come and bind. So the adapter proteins comes and bind here, and those are GRB2 and SOS proteins. So GRB2 and SOS proteins are adapter proteins that will come and bind to the phosphorylated receptor, and these adapter proteins will be activated by this receptor. Okay, you can see in the picture to the activated receptor BRB2 and SOS, which are adapter proteins, coming and binding to the receptor. So this receptor will activate GRB2 and SOS. Okay. Now this GRB2 and SOS, which are the adapter proteins, will activate the RAS protein. RAS is a G protein. So adapter proteins activate the RAS, and when RAS is active, it will be bound to GTP. Okay, so RAS GTP is the active form of RAS. Okay, RAS will have GTP. Now the activated RAS will activate next molecule, that is RAF. RAF can also be known as MAP kinase. Okay. Now RAF will activate MEK, that will be MAP kinase, and MEK will activate ERK, which is MAP kinase. So ERK is the MAP kinase. RAS protein is activating the ERK, that is MAP kinase. Now finally this ERK will go into the nucleus. It can go into the nucleus and change the gene expression and protein activity. Finally they'll go into the nucleus and there will be gene transcription and protein activity will be changed. Okay, so you can see in this picture that phosphorylated receptors will phosphorylate GRB2 and SOS, which are the adapter proteins, and the adapter proteins will activate the RAS GTP. Okay, so the activated RAS will further activate RAF, MEK, ERK. Okay, RAF is MAP kinase. MEK is MAP kinase. ERK is MAP kinase. Now this finally MAP kinase will go into the nucleus and change the gene expression and protein activity. Also, one of the important thing you have to know is this SOS adapter protein here has the JEF activity. In the previous lectures, when we were speaking about G protein coupled receptors, I told you JEF means guanine nucleotide exchange factors. So the function of these factors is to convert GDP to GTP. Okay, GDP to GTP. So that is the function of JEF. So SOS as the JEF activity, and through SOS only our RAS is activated from GTP to from GDP to GTP. Okay, from GDP to GTP. So let's revise the RAS-MAP kinase pathway once because it's important. So first ligand will bind to the receptor, which is receptor tyrosine kinase. Next is dimerization of receptor. Now after dimerization of the receptor, the catalytic domain of this receptor tyrosine kinase will be activated, and that will lead to autophosphorylation of the receptors at the tyrosine residues. So this will activate the adapter proteins GRB2 and SOS. Okay, and the activated GRB2 SOS will activate the RAS because this SOS protein is JEF. Okay, they will have JEF activity, and that will exchange the RAS GDP to RAS GTP, which is activation of RAS protein, which is a G protein, monomeric G protein. So the activated RAS, that is RAS GTP, will activate RAF, and RAF will activate MEK, MEK will activate ERK, and there will be changes in gene transcription. So this is the pathway of RAS-MAP kinase, very simple and easy to understand. I hope you guys are noting down the pathway because I've actually made everything handwritten for you, especially if you understand the pathway from your handwritten notes. It will be easy for you to copy and to study also. So the next we are going to talk about is IP3 DAG pathway, which also comes under receptor tyrosine kinase. Okay, so IP3 DAG pathway we already studied in the G protein coupled receptor. So this pathway of IP3 DAG can be activated through receptor tyrosine kinase also. Okay, so what happens in this? The growth factor will come and bind to the receptor tyrosine kinase. Then there will be dimerization of receptor. Okay, dimerization of receptor will lead to activation of the catalytic domain, which is present in the cytoplasmic region. Now this catalytic domain will cross phosphorylate. Okay, you will have totally 6 tyrosine residues. Each receptor will have 3 tyrosine, so totally 6 tyrosine residues in the dimer. So all of these 6 tyrosine residues will be cross phosphorylated. Okay, by this our receptor will be activated. The activated receptor will activate the enzyme phospholipase C gamma. This enzyme, from this, the pathway is same as we studied in the G protein coupled receptors. Okay, from this area where phospholipase C is activated, everything is same. Okay, so this will catalyze the reaction of PYP2, PIP2 conversion into IP3 and DAG. DAG is a membrane-bound protein, so it will be present in the membrane. IP3 will go to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and open the calcium ion channels. Calcium ions from this SER will come out into the cytoplasm. The calcium ions along with the DAG that will activate protein kinase C. And protein kinase is a kinase, which means it will phosphorylate proteins further, okay, and will cause activation of those proteins. So this is your IP3 and DAG pathway, which is exactly same as your G protein coupled receptor, except how this phospholipase C is activated. Only that part is different. Other than that, all the pathways we have already seen in detail. So next is PI3 kinase pathway, phosphatidyl inositol 3 kinase pathway. Okay, so here the mechanism is same. Ligand will bind to the receptor that is receptor tyrosine kinase. Dimerization of receptor will take place. The activation of the catalytic domain which is present in the cytosolic region of the receptor will be happening. Then auto cross phosphorylation will happen. Auto cross phosphorylation will happen, so the receptor will be activated. Now the activated receptor will phosphorylate PI3 kinase. Okay, PI3 kinase. PI3 kinase will catalyze the conversion of PIP2 to PIP3. Okay, so we know PI3 kinase, since it's a kinase, it will phosphorylate. When phosphate group is added to PIP2, this will be converted to PIP3. Okay, now PKB is a protein kinase B that will bind to PIP3. Okay, protein kinase B will bind to PIP3 and that will become active. For the activation of protein kinase B, you need two enzymes. One is phosphatidyl inositol dependent kinase 1 and 2. Okay, so this PDK 1 and 2. This is phosphatidyl inositol dependent kinases 1 and 2. This will activate the protein kinase B. When the protein kinase B is phosphorylated and activated, this will have further functions of cell growth, cell survival and inhibition of apoptosis. So these are the function of protein kinase B. So the pathway is very simple. The ligand will bind to the receptor, dimerization of the receptor, autophosphorylation of the receptor, then that will activate an enzyme PI3 kinase which will catalyze the conversion of PIP2 into PIP3, and our protein kinase B, which is a kinase, will come and bind to PI3, and for activation of protein kinase B we require PDK1 and 2. When the PKB is phosphorylated, it becomes active and it is helpful in cell growth, cell survival and inhibition of apoptosis. So this is the first category of our receptor tyrosine kinase, which is present in the enzyme linked receptor, in which we saw three pathways: RAS-MAP kinase pathway we saw IP3 DAG pathway and PI3 kinase pathway. So these three pathways comes under receptor tyrosine kinase. Now we are going to move to the next category, tyrosine kinase associated receptors. Okay, so this is the second category of enzyme linked receptor. So these tyrosine kinase associated receptors, they do not have intrinsic enzymatic activity, but they will stimulate the intracellular protein tyrosine kinase. Okay, this type of receptor will also have transmembrane alpha helix, which is single pass. It will have an extracellular ligand binding domain. It will have tyrosine kinase associated protein, which will be present in the cytosolic domain, and the protein which is present in the cytosolic domain which has tyrosine kinase activity is called as JAK. Okay, the full form of JAK is Janus kinases. Janus kinases. Janus kinases is the full form of JAK. So these JAK are the protein which are having tyrosine kinase activity, and this will be associated to the catalytic domain. Okay, cytosolic domain. Okay, this will be attached to the cytosolic domain of the receptor. And the ligands which can bind to the tyrosine kinase associated receptor is your antigen, growth factors, growth hormones, interleukins, interferons. All of these ligands can bind to your tyrosine kinase associated receptors. So the enzyme, okay, so the enzyme which is involved in tyrosine kinase associated receptor is Janus kinases. Janus kinases is the enzyme and the transcription factor is STAT. Okay, so STAT is the transcription factor which is involved in this pathway. That's why this pathway is called as JAK-STAT pathway. The JAK is the enzyme, STAT is the transcription factor. Okay, you know what is the function of transcription factor? It will help in the transcription of genes. Okay, so this STAT protein can go inside the nucleus because it is a transcription factor, helps in gene transcription. Okay. So let's see the pathway of JAK-STAT. Okay. So what happens here? Ligand binds to the receptor. Okay. Same thing everywhere. Ligand binds to the receptor. That will cause dimerization of the receptor. Same thing again. So these events are common in enzyme linked receptor. That is ligand binding to the receptor. Then dimerization will happen. Then autophosphorylation will happen. So these are the then activation of adaptor protein. So these will be the common pathway in your enzyme linked receptor. Every pathway will start with this only. After that, the adapter proteins which comes and bind to the activated or phosphorylated receptor are different depending upon different pathways. Okay. So ligand bind to the receptor leads to dimerization of the receptor here. Okay, and this catalytic domain which is JAK. Okay, JAK is the catalytic domain which is not a part of the receptor. It is not a part of the receptor, but the cytosolic region. This is the cytosolic region of the receptor is attached to a protein called as JAK, which has the kinase activity. That's why this kind of receptors are called as tyrosine kinase associated. They do not have the enzyme in them. Okay, in the previous pathway receptor tyrosine kinase, we saw that in the receptor itself, the cytosolic domain has catalytic activity, which means it has enzymatic activity. But tyrosine kinase associated receptor do not have any enzymatic activity, but they will be linked to a protein like JAK. Okay, they will be linked to a protein like JAK, which will have the catalytic activity or enzymatic activity. So after the ligand binds to the receptor, then dimerization of receptor will happen that will lead to the activation of JAK. Okay, it will lead to activation of JAK, which is a protein kinase linked to your cytoplasmic domain of the receptor. So first JAK will autophosphorylate itself. Autophosphorylation means cross phosphorylation. This JAK will phosphorylate this one and this JAK will phosphorylate this one. So auto cross phosphorylation will take place. JAK will get activated. The activated JAK will then phosphorylate the receptor at the tyrosine residue. Okay, you can see in this diagram the phosphorylated JAK here is phosphorylating the receptor at the tyrosine residues. So the receptor is now active. To the activated receptor, what will happen next? Some kind of adapter protein will come and bind. In the JAK-STAT pathway, STAT is your adapter protein. STAT will come and bind to the activated receptor and the STAT will get phosphorylated. As soon as the STAT gets phosphorylated, it dissociates away from the receptor and goes inside the nucleus. Why does it go inside the nucleus? Because it is a transcription factor. Its function itself is to gene transcription. So it goes inside the nucleus. The phosphorylated STAT enters the nucleus and helps in gene transcription. Simple, very simple pathway JAK-STAT. Okay. So the next category which we are going to deal with is receptor serine threonine kinases. Receptor serine threonine kinases. This is the third category under enzyme linked receptors. Okay. So these are enzyme linked receptors belongs to serine threonine kinases, and the signal which will start or initiate these receptor activity is TGF beta family. Okay, and the ligand is TGF beta. So when this TGF beta ligand binds to the receptor, serine threonine kinases, okay, first step is dimerization of the receptor. When the receptor is dimerized, this will activate type 2 serine threonine kinase. There are two types of serine threonine kinase. First, serine threonine kinase type 2 will be activated, and this type 2 will activate type 1 serine threonine kinases. As type 1 serine threonine kinase is activated, this will help in autophosphorylation of the receptor at the tyrosine residue. Very simple. Listen carefully, okay? Listen carefully. Your TGF beta is the ligand that will go and bind to the receptor. That will cause receptor dimerization. And dimerization happens by activation of type 2 serine threonine receptor kinases. Okay, now this type 2 serine threonine kinases is activated. This will activate type 1 serine threonine kinases, and due to this, auto cross phosphorylation of the receptor will take place at tyrosine residues. Okay, since the receptor is active now, the next step is for adapter binding and its activation. In the TGF beta pathway, your adapter is SMAD. It can be SMAD2 or SMAD3. Okay, any one of it. So this adapter protein SMAD2 or SMAD3 will bind to the receptor, and they will also get phosphorylated. SMAD always works as a dimer. Okay, either it can be 2 SMAD2 or 2 SMAD3. Okay, so SMAD dimer will be there that will associate with SMAD4. Okay, that will associate with SMAD4, and SMAD4 will also get phosphorylated. So these are the transcription factors. Now goes inside the nucleus and helps in gene transcription. That's all. This is your TGF beta and SMAD pathway. So in the enzyme linked receptor, the basic pathway is when the ligand binds to the receptor. Okay, so the catalytic domain or the protein which has catalytic domain that is associated with your receptor will get activated. That will lead to autophosphorylation of the receptor, and then adapter protein will come and bind. The adapter protein will be phosphorylated. It will either activate a transcription factor by phosphorylation. Okay, then that factor will go inside the nucleus and helps in gene expression. That is all the function and basic mechanism of your enzyme linked receptor. So this is the basic mechanism which is same in every pathway. What you have to remember is what is the adapter protein. Okay, what is the adapter protein? The name of the adapter protein with respect to each of these pathways and how they are getting activated. That's it. So the only difference in all of these pathways is the adapter protein. Other than that, enzyme linked pathway is completely same. Okay, so the way the receptor is getting activated and autophosphorylation, then activation of the adapter proteins, everything is same. The pathway is same, but the adaptive proteins is different with respect to each of the pathways. Okay, so I hope today's class in which we learned about a receptor tyrosine kinase, then serine threonine kinases, and all of the pathways, different kind of pathways in the enzyme linked receptors are pretty clear to you. Okay, so note these receptor pathways in your notebook and learn from them. Keep studying and revising and practicing. Make it as an habit and do it very dedicatedly. Okay, so like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel Gurmantra Shiksha Ka Granth. If you have any queries, we are very happy over here to solve it for you. Okay, so very happy to solve it for you. So thank you so much and have